not interested. Live from New York. It's a show that loves sports. Okay?
We came to talk sports.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
We're not a soap opera.
Yeah, but we do kind of like watching it.
No, we're not. It's enjoyable
That's
to watch.
Sports Media Ombudsman. I'm out here.
Oh, today is the day of the Sports
We
Media
might have to
Ombudsman.
float it today.
Guess where Nick is going in that?
No, well, who knows? I mean, there is an overwhelming favorite.
Start doing advanced plus minus.
That's not my job.
We're starting with a very busy day for LeBron James. Fresh off of a wave-making interview. LeBron,
Which was the day before, right?
He recorded it the day before, but they aired it yesterday.
Yeah.
That's how they had
that's
the
why
snippet.
it wasn't live.
Yeah,
I thought
it
it
was
was
kind of
Yeah,
live.
that's how space-time
The Giannis
continuum
thing worked.
Yeah.
Oh, that does make more sense. LeBron played 3 quarters of mediocre basketball, had 3 points until the fourth when he scored 10, including this tip-in to win the game. How important was this game winner?
The game winner was important, literally for the Lakers in the standings, and figuratively because it capped kind of a perfect LeBron James day. Because of the interview and because of who he did the interview with and who he went after and the network it was on, and then the game being on that network and him knowing that it was going to be the topic the next day, he went into this game with way more pressure than you typically would have for a March regular season game, certainly for a guy who's played in 280 career playoff games.
Yeah.
And then through the first 3 quarters, he was, offensively speaking, as ineffective as he's been in any game through 3 quarters since I was in college. And how did he come out of it? By being the best player on the court in the fourth quarter, helping the Lakers take what should have been an easy victory when they were up 12 in the fourth and then up 6 with 2 minutes left. And then when it looked like it was going to be lost, a 2-play sequence at the end, Brew, that kind of perfectly encapsulates who he is as a basketball player, which is wildly underrated defender, because on the last Pacers possession, he recognized too many good shooters, can't leave my guy until, there's 2.5 on the shot clock. I can go help and send a late double. Smart leaked out and would have had a layup. Luka didn't quite see it in time, and then got the ball on the wing, 7 seconds left. And one of the things he has been totally unfairly criticized for throughout his career, even that day, I have kind of said a lot today. I am now have a chance to have the moment. It's not the right play. You're sending a double to me. I'm going to get the ball to Luka. But even after that, but in case he doesn't make it, I'll make sure I'm in the right spot. And so I thought the end of this game was perfect given the context of the day. Obviously, this was not a great LeBron game by any stretch. It was just a great fourth quarter and great finish. And I love, and have always loved, Brew, and you and I have talked about it, that he puts ego aside on final possessions. Like, the open guy is the right guy. And Luka said after, him giving Luka the ball, even though Luka missed, gave Luka more confidence, and so it kind of worked out perfectly.
No, that's a great synopsis, because that's the interesting thing about LeBron is he's never, throughout his career, let all the criticism about not taking the last shot force him to take the last shot. Now, obviously, plenty of times he's taken the last shot, but he's never done it because, that I can see, let me shut these critics up.
Yeah.
Or they say I don't want to take the last shot. So I give him credit, because you're right, he could have done that. I don't think he was thinking at that moment about everything going down this day. But look, whether it would have had anything to do with his poor performance, had he gone out there after going after Stephen A. Smith, after going after Brian Windhorst, after going out after the players in the 70s, all right, and scored single digits for the first time in more than 1,200 games?
Yes.
People would have jumped on LeBron for that.
It would have been a bad look.
And the irony would have been unavoidable. And so the fact that he salvaged it, and it was weird because he was 0 for 6, I think, in the first 3 quarters. So it wasn't like he was 2 for 14.
No, he wasn't.
He just wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't. And he was rebounding. He had his assist, but he just wasn't as engaged. But yeah, the tip in. It really capped what ended up becoming an eventful. I'll put it that way, an eventful day for LeBron James. And it continued to be eventful afterwards. But it was huge for them, though. This was a great win. We all said going into the game, it was a must-win for the Lakers. It broke their 3-game losing streak. They beat a team that had been playing great, won 5 straight, won, I think, 7 of their last 8, had won 8 at home, and is the type of young, fast, offensively, minded team that has given the Lakers some problems. And I also thought, and remember I came on earlier in the week and said Luka was hogging the ball, which he was in that last game, and we know that's somewhat his style of play. But this game, it was more fluid. He did his thing, and you want Luka to do his thing. But Austin Reeves was able to get going, and all 5 starters had 13 or more points. And I actually think, looking back, this is good for them that with LeBron not doing as much offensively through 3 quarters, and really the whole game, not doing a ton, only scoring 13 points, we were able to beat one of, it's not a contender, but a legitimate playoff team in their building. So I think at the end of the day, this was a great win for the Lakers.
Can I add a couple other things? And it also saved Luka from some real, like LeBron would have gotten the brunt of it if he didn't score double digits. But after they went up 6, Rui hit those 2 threes. Luka had his 2 worst defensive possessions of the season. Like, that might be a little hyperbolic, but the first one was as bad as it gets. And so that it saved Luka from that scrutiny today. That I see it in your eyes.
It's going to come again.
Right, it's going to come again and needs to get cleaned up. And we have seen Luka be better, obviously, than he was at the end of the game yesterday. So I know it can be better than that. It couldn't be worse. But I just want to reiterate the double-digit point thing and then ask Brew a question before we move on to the seeding. So the double-digit point thing is an incomprehensible number. I remember the Jordan record feeling like it was never going to be touched. It was 11 seasons in a row where he scored double digits in every single game. And the fact that LeBron is now approaching an extra 5 seasons on top of Jordan's is unfathomable. But I don't have an NBA awards vote, bro. If I did, with 7 games left, that guy in first position there would be my clutch player of the year. So here are the numbers, Wilds, as you look quizzically at it. Here is LeBron this year in the 4th quarter, 2nd in points, 2nd in assists, 1st in field goals, the only guy with 400, 100, 100. Here are his numbers compared to the 2 guys who have won that award. LeBron's teams are 20-9 in clutch games. Steph won it on a team that missed the playoffs that was 23-20. Fox won it on a 47-win team that was 22-17. His field goal percentage is in line. His assist to turnover is far better. His plus-minus blows it out of the water. I don't know, the clutch player of the year is tough because, Shea is kind of ineligible. Not ineligible, but it doesn't go to the best guy on the best team because that team hasn't had a lot of clutch minutes.
Right.
You have to be in this, which is where the Kings and the Warriors were, a good team, you know what I mean, that's played a lot of close games. I think he's been the best clutch player in the league thus far this season.
He's been huge in the 4th, there's no doubt. I have to look at all the candidates. But he's in the running, and up until the injury, he was, at that point, 5th on my MVP ballot. He won't win MVP, but he was going to get on the ballot. And so, he's got a shot. I have to, like I said, really scour the numbers.
And you might not even have a vote for that specific one, right? They separated.
I have the last few. Yeah, you vote for 80 or 90% of the awards, but I voted for that one in the past.
All right, so the win puts the Lakers into a tie with the Grizzlies for 4th place. The Rockets are in 2nd. The Nuggets beat the Bucks last night. After the game, LeBron talked about the race in the West. So here's the Lakers' remaining schedule. He mentioned the Bulls. They haven't played since Monday. They won 3 in a row. Grizzlies, Rockets, Warriors, Pelicans. 2 games against the Thunder. Then it's Luka's homecoming in Dallas, the Rockets, and then the Blazers. There's a lot to digest there. So how important is the 2 seed?
Well, it's interesting because if these teams take all these games seriously, that's a heck of a schedule.
Yeah.
And it'll also tell you a lot about the Lakers.
Yep.
I mean, the Houston games will be interesting, and they're playing for something. Obviously, they want the 2nd seed. OKC, if they come out and,
I wonder how OKC will approach it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to show you anything, or we want to see how we match up.
Well, remember last year the Lakers were 3-1 against them,
Yep.
and I think the Lakers won the game. I believe they won the game this season.
No, I was at that game. They lost to OKC in LA day after Thanksgiving.
Okay. So we'll see. Does OKC want to prove something to themselves or not? But I think 2nd seed would be huge. Now, look, most importantly for the Lakers is being healthy and playing the right way. Like the offense is flowing. We know it's going to be Luka-centric, as it should, because that's when he's at his best. But it's still got to be a flow there. They still got to get some movement and getting guys open shots. So if they're doing that and they get their defense together with the communication, everybody being on a string and connected, I don't care where they're seated. If they're playing that way, I feel good about them. But having the 2nd seed would be huge because for whatever reason, they haven't been a good road team. Now, that was a good win last night in Indiana, but they're 16-19 on the road. Obviously, a lot of that was without Luka, but that's the worst of all the top 10 teams in the West outside of the Clippers. So they've been better at home. You want that. And for them, presumably, if they're the 2nd seed and get to the conference finals, you're thinking they meet OKC. If I'm the Lakers, like, if they get to the conference finals, that means they're clicking.
That's right.
They're playing great ball, and that's when you want to see OKC. And they're playing with Luka now, but they haven't played with Luka, and he hasn't played with them in the playoffs. That's a whole different animal. So he's going to have to get used to playoff LeBron and his teammates and vice versa. And J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick's a rookie coach. He's going to be different in game 1 and in series 1 in the playoffs than he is in the 3rd series that he's playing. So it's huge for them to get the 2nd. Now, I don't necessarily think they will, but if they do, I feel even better about my prediction of the Lakers coming out of the West.
So and I'm curious what you think, Wilds. So the reason we're doing the 2 seed is the Lakers are in a weird spot where even though they're in 4th, because of who they play and because of the tiebreakers, they control their own destiny for the 2 seed. And all that means is no matter what everyone else did, if the Lakers run the table, they're the 2 seed. They would, by definition, leap over.
But they don't have to run the table.
No, of course not. Yeah. But my point is that it's in their hands, but in their hands just means they...
So if the Nuggets ran the table?
Yeah, and the Lakers ran the table, the Lakers have the tiebreaker. They both have the same record.
Rockets,
and if the Lakers run the table, the Rockets get 2 more losses, so they play them twice, and the Lakers have the tiebreaker. And if the Grizzlies, yes. I mean, again, I don't think they're going to finish the season on 11-game winning streak. My point is they control it. I don't actually think the 2 seed is important. I think getting to the 2-3 line is very important because it's not so much about having home court advantage in the 2nd round against Houston. I don't think home court advantage would matter at all. Right. Denver, it could because of the elevation piece of it, even though Denver hasn't been the dominant home team that it was in years past. But I think being on the opposite side of Oklahoma City is super valuable for the reason Bruce said, which is they haven't played a lot together. Right. Forget, obviously, none in the playoffs, but just Rui, Austin, LeBron, Luka, all healthy, all together. Like, that team doesn't have a lot of reps together. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to play the most connected team in the league, in round 2. I'd rather play them in round 3. And if you're on the other side of the bracket of OKC, you might not play OKC because OKC could get clipped by somebody. I will be picking Oklahoma City in every series they play other than against the Lakers. So I wouldn't anticipate that Oklahoma City could get nailed in round 2, but certainly on the board. So I just think moving up 1 spot, so the potential OKC matchup would be in round 3 instead of round 2 is highly valuable.
Just quickly, Dusty, can we put up the 10 remaining games?
It's tough.
Yeah, so it's the 4th toughest. Tonight, obviously, I said Chicago's been resting, and they're on a back-to-back, and they scored 146 last time they played. That is going to be very tough. To me, I see...
Memphis is not very tough right now.
Yeah, Jaws out, remember.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll give you the W. But I'm looking at the Lakers have a lot to prove against these teams, and these teams have a lot to prove.
Yeah.
The good teams want to prove they can beat the Lakers. The bad team, even this silly game in Portland, how do you think Portland wants to end their season?
With
a loss.
Yeah, I think that's the least of their.
Maybe you're right.
I
don't know.
should go New Orleans
no,
with Zion. Does he want to show something? Like I mean,
think
Portland. I don't think that game.
No, listen. To me,
the Portland game reminds me of the Jimmy could go the Jimmy Butler back to Miami game route.
But you know what else?
Luka. Oh, sorry.
Portland's not good. You're talking about Dallas.
He's talking about Dallas.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Portland.
No, the Portland game could go like the Patriots.
But Dallas is so bad.
We should lose, but we're not going to.
The Dallas.
That'd be interesting. I'd love to see what AD does.
Yes.
In that game.
I'm
they're
not
so
nearly as
banged up.
confident as you guys are on this guy.
No, I'm not saying they're getting the second seed. I was just
neither.
saying if they do.
But I also think
this last game, I know it's like very glass half full. We're just, and I don't like when other people do this, so I'm reluctant to do it myself because wins are wins. But it's just a missed tip away from
it being a bad
loss on a losing streak and giving up 120 points to the Pacers.
But it would have been
and on the front end of a back-to-back, and LeBron's what's going on with LeBron. It was a win, but it was I don't view it as.
So here's the thing:
rosy as
it would have been a bad loss because they were up 11 in the fourth and they were up 6 with 1:40 left. It wouldn't be a bad loss the way losing to Chicago was. The Pacers are good.
Yeah.
The Pacers, had they won that game, would have had the exact same record as the Lakers. The Pacers were in the conference finals last year, and stylistically, they are the type of team, as Brew was saying, that is going to be able to score on the Lakers, which is, by the way, one of the concerns for OKC. So I don't look at that as it would have been bad the way it happened. It wouldn't be. It's not embarrassing to go to Indiana and lose. I think the key to them moving up, honestly, is how serious. Is OKC going for it or not? Because those, if you have it's not back-to-back days, but back-to-back games against OKC, you just hope to go 1-1. But if OKC is at that point, taking time, resting different guys in different spots, making sure, because they have everything locked already, that's a different story.
Maybe. I bet they, I don't know.
I don't know. But
it's going to be interesting to see how they address it.
Do you think OKC, deep down, and OKC's like, hey, do we want, we're not scared of anybody. However, would we rather the Lakers be on our side of the bracket or the Rockets be on our side of the bracket? I bet the OKC would
loser stuff. That is loser stuff.
Yeah, I bet I think the front office is thinking that way,
not
and even the coaching staff.
Yes,
the players.
not the players are
probably looking at them as Luka's slow. We can get past him.
Yeah.
LeBron's
Except
older.
Luka, the players also were on the court when Luka beat them last year. The players are on the court when LeBron.
But I don't think they're fearing. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying they're fearing. I'm simply saying it's the coaches in the front office that decide who's active and who's inactive for a game. And I don't think OKC is going to look at those Laker games as these are must wins. I think they're going to look at it as actually it doesn't really hurt us that bad. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.